Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to get richer every single year, while others, who are working just as hard, feel like they're totally stuck on a treadmill to nowhere? Well, it's not about luck, and it's not some secret formula. It's actually about avoiding these subtle money traps that, honestly, most of us fall into without even realizing it. So let's uncover them together.
I think we all know this feeling, right? The financial hamster wheel. You work more, maybe you even get a raise, but somehow your bank account just doesn't really grow. You're putting in all the effort, you're running as fast as you can, but the scenery just never seems to change. It is so frustrating, and it's way more common than you'd think.
From the outside, everything looks pretty good. You've got the professional career, the nice home, a decent income. But what's really going on beneath the surface? The crazy thing is, a shocking number of families are just one unexpected bill, a car repair, a surprise medical thing, away from total financial disaster. That foundation is a lot shakier than it looks.
And look, this isn't about having bad luck. It's about falling into these subtle, almost invisible money traps that are, they're socially accepted. These are the kinds of moves that seem smart on the surface, but they're quietly draining your wealth over time. It's time to expose them.
Okay, so let's start with the first set of traps. I like to call these the invisible chains of ignorance, and for good reason. They cost you the most when you're just not paying attention to your own money.
And trap number one is honestly maybe the most devastating of all: investment ignorance. The vast majority of people with employer retirement plans have absolutely no clue what they're actually invested in. They sign up, maybe they get that employer match, and then they just set it and forget it, operating on complete autopilot for decades.
I mean, think about how absurd this is for a second. We'll spend hours, sometimes days, researching a TV that costs a few $100, right? But when it comes to the hundreds of thousands of dollars that are supposed to define our entire future, we just cross our fingers and hope for the best. It's a massive, massive blind spot.
And look at what this actually costs you in the real world. You have two people. They invest the exact same amount of money. The uninformed person, the one on autopilot, they end up with $600,000. The informed person, $1 million. That's a $400,000 difference just for making a few simple, informed choices early on.
This leads us right into trap number 2, that siren song of market timing. It's this belief that you can outsmart the entire market, that you're the one who's going to buy at the very bottom and sell at the very top. But here's the hard truth. For almost everyone, it's a proven way to destroy your wealth. We get greedy when the market's up, and we panic when it's down, which pretty much guarantees we buy high and sell low.
Okay, let's move on to our third trap, and you can see how these start to build on each other. It's passive tax planning. This is the incredibly costly mistake of treating your taxes like the weather. Something that just happens to you and you have zero control over. And that mindset? It's one of the most expensive mistakes you can make.
Let this really sink in for a second. For so many families, their annual tax bill is bigger than their mortgage, bigger than their car payments, bigger than their food budget combined. It is their single largest expense, and it's the one they spend the least amount of time trying to actually manage. That is a huge, huge missed opportunity. So this brings us to a really fundamental mindset shift. Most of us are laser-focused on earning more from our job, which is high-tax income. The wealthy, they focus on keeping more of what they earn. They use smart, totally legal strategies, things like maxing out retirement accounts or investing in tax-advantaged ways that are, by the way, available to pretty much everyone.
All right, let's dive into our second category of traps. We'll call this one the cage of comfort. Because these are the traps that thrive on our natural fear of change. They prey on our desire to just stay where we feel safe, even if staying safe is costing us a fortune. So trap number 4 is change paralysis. This is when you know deep down that a situation isn't working for you, like, say, being underpaid at your job. But the thought of making a change, of updating your resume, of interviewing, it feels so uncomfortable and risky that you just stay put, month after month, and sometimes year after year.
And the math on this is it's really sobering. Delaying a job change for a $10,000 raise costs you $30,000 in just 3 years, and that's not even counting the lost growth on your retirement savings from that extra income. Your comfort zone is incredibly expensive.
All right, next up is a huge one, the systematic avoidance of real estate. Now, look, owning a home isn't for absolutely everyone, but for a lot of people, choosing to stay out of the housing market is one of the single costliest financial mistakes they'll ever make. It's like locking the door on one of the primary tools for building wealth.
I mean, the difference here is just stark. When you rent, 100% of your payment is an expense. Poof, it's gone. And it goes up every year. When you own, a big chunk of each payment is building your own equity. Your payment is fixed, which is a fantastic hedge against inflation, and you get some significant tax advantages. You're basically building wealth with your housing payment instead of just spending it.
Our final category is, in my opinion, the most insidious of all, the counterintuitive wealth killers. These are the traps that actually feel like you're doing the right thing, the responsible thing, but in reality, they are quietly destroying your financial future.
Trap number 6 feels so responsible, avoiding all risk. But the truth is, and this might sound crazy, not taking a calculated financial risk is the biggest risk you can take. When your money just sits there in a savings account, inflation is silently eating it away day after day. You are literally guaranteed to lose purchasing power every single year.
And finally, trap number 7. Oh, this one is so easy to fall into, the I deserve it cycle. You work really hard, you get a raise, and you feel like, hey, I deserve a reward. The problem is your lifestyle inflates to perfectly match your new income. So no matter how much you earn, you never actually get ahead because you're always spending it on lifestyle upgrades instead of on assets that grow.
Okay, I know that was a lot to take in, and it might even feel a little overwhelming. But this is the empowering part. We're now going to talk about how you break these chains, how you actually get on the path to real financial freedom.
And here's the absolute best part, the thing you really need to remember. Every single one of these traps is completely within your power to avoid. You don't need to win the lottery. You don't need some secret knowledge. The people who escape these traps, they simply make different choices. So what's the path forward? What's your game plan? It's really about a series of intentional shifts. It's about choosing knowledge over ignorance. It's about embracing calculated risks. It's about prioritizing assets over lifestyle. It's about making your money finally work for you. And it's about treating taxes like any other expense that you can actively manage.
Please remember this. At the end of the day, your long-term financial future isn't about how much you make. It's not about the size of your paycheck. It's about the small, consistent, and informed decisions you make day in and day out, starting today.
And that brings us to the final question, and this one is for you to answer. After seeing all these traps laid out, which invisible chain are you going to break first? The choice is entirely yours to make, but I promise you, your future self is going to thank you for making it.